With Tuesday's Michigan primary approaching, I wanted to take a moment to reflect on what appears to be just another Democratic phony. Abdul el-Sayed. Every election cycle, we're introduced to a fresh face promising to rescue America for itself. They tell us they're different. They tell us they're fighting for the little guy. They tell us they're taking on the establishment, standing up to billionaires, and leading a revolution against what's so-called an oligarchy. And then, almost like clockwork, the facts begin to be painted far more complicated than the picture. Abdul el-Sayed was built much of his political identity around progressive populism. He has been one of Michigan's loudest advocates for Medicare for All, arguing that every American should have access to government-funded healthcare throughout the single-payer system. He campaigned on affordability, reducing inequality, and challenging concentrated wealth. Those are powerful messages, especially at the time when millions of Americans are struggling to pay mortgages, rent, groceries, insurance premiums, and utility bills. But here's where the campaign rhetoric begins running headfirst into reality. According to the public reported information, Dr. Sarah, however you say her last name, el-Sayed's wife, opted out to Medicare in 2025 to operate a private physician practice that does not accept Medicare or private insurance. Patients instead pay directly for services. Now, before anybody starts hyperventilating, let's be clear. Operating a private paid medical practice is perfectly legal. Doctors have every right to determine how they structure their business. The question isn't legality. The question is consistency. If Medicare for All is supposed to be the answer for America's healthcare system, why isn't the household embracing Medicare in its own medical practices? That's a fair political question. It's a question voters have every right to ask. Because if you're asking millions of Americans to place their healthcare entirely in the hands of Medicare, shouldn't your own household have enough confidence in the program to participate? Instead, voters are left wondering whether Medicare is good enough for everyone else, but not necessarily good enough for when your family's livelihood is on the line. Again, that's not an accusation, it's an observation, and the observation matters. The contradiction doesn't stop there. Throughout the campaign, el-Sayed has frequently spoken about affordability, income inequality, and challenging what's so-called an oligarchy. Those are emotionally powerful campaign slogans, but financial disclosure reports tell us another side of the story. Public financial disclosures indicated that Abdul el-Sayed and his wife reported substantial household income in 2025, approaching $700,000 for salary, consulting, and other sources. Their reported net worth has been estimated within a range of approximately $1.2 million to $2 million based on public financial disclosure filings and asset assessments. Again, there is absolutely nothing illegal about being financially successful. There is nothing wrong with earning a good living. Success should never be criticized. But when your campaign message centers on fighting wealth inequalities while their own household enjoys financial security that most Michigan families can only dream about, voters are entitled to ask whether the message and the lifestyle truly align. Public disclosure has also reported ownership interests in rental properties located in Ann Arbor, Michigan, and Dubai in the United Arab Emirates. Owning investment properties is not unethical. Many Americans invest in real estate. Good for them. The issue isn't whether someone owns property. The issue is transparency and political messaging. If your campaign as the companion of working families who can't afford rent, who are struggling to buy their first home, and who are battling inflation every month, people naturally begin asking questions whether you discover the candidate has accumulated significant real estate investments around the world. That's not jealousy, that's scrutiny, and anyone running for the United States Senate should expect scrutiny, especially someone asking voters to trust them with trillions of taxpayer dollars. Then there's the matter of the campaign optics. Abdul Sayed has campaigned alongside nationally recognized progressive figures including Senate Bernie Sanders and Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, politicians who have become synonymous with democratic socialist policies and expanding government programs. That's his choice. Voters can decide whether those alliances reflect the direction they want for Michigan. He has also appeared with online political commentator Hassan Piker, a figure known for a proactive and polarization political commentary. Critics have argued that appearing alongside such personalities raise questions about audience candidates' choice to court, while supporters view it as an outreach to younger and more progressive voters. Again, voters can decide what they say as a candidate's judgment. Politics often tell us more about associations than campaign commercials ever could. Here's what fascinates me the most. Every election cycle, politicians insist they're not career politicians. They're outsiders, they're reformers, they're going to clean everything up. They're going to challenge corruption, they're going to fight the wealthy, they're going to save democracy. And somehow, after enough campaign stops, and after enough television interviews, after enough fundraiser dinners, after enough carefully revised speeches, they begin looking suspiciously like every other politician's promise to replace. The promises stay the same. Only the names change. They're consistently told not to judge politicians by what they own. Fair enough. Let's judge them by consistency. If Medicare for all is the future, why doesn't Medicare play a larger role in the family medical practices? If affordability is the mission, how do voters reconcile what message with a household earning hundreds of thousands of dollars annually? If fighting concentrated wealth isn't the objective, how should voters view significant investment portfolios and multiple real estate holdings? Those aren't personal attacks, those are political questions, and political candidates voluntarily place themselves before the public expecting those questions to be asked. Democracy requires it, accountability demands it, journalism exists because of it. At the end of the day, every voter will decide for themselves whether Abdul al-Sayed represents genuine conviction or simple polished political branding. As for me, when I hear speeches about Medicare for all while learning about household practices does not practice in Medicare, when I hear about campaigns promising about affordability from a household reporting significant income and substantial financial assets, when I hear about repeat attack on wealth while reviewing financial disclosures showing a level of prosperity that most Michigan families will never experience, I'm left asking whether the campaign message matches the candidate's own reality. Maybe Michigan voters will conclude those differences doesn't matter. Maybe they conclude they do. That's their decision, but in my opinion, elections are won or lost not simply on slogans, but on credibility. And credibility isn't built by telling people what they want to hear. It's built by convincing voters they are living by the same principles they're asking everyone else to embrace. That's why, for me, Abdul al-Sayed doesn't come across as a revolutionary outsider his campaign portrays. He comes across as another polished politician asking voters to overlook inconvenient contradictions while embracing careful crafted campaign slogans. Michigan voters deserve to ask those questions before they cast their ballots. And on Tuesday, they'll decide whether they're buying the message or simply the marketing. Have a good evening.